Middleman.
We are the jurors. Hello and welcome to the Middleman on Enterprise TV. I am Juror Olajumoke Alaude James, and as you have seen, I'm with my fellow jurors, Emeka Madunago, who will be talking about the invasion of Banex Plaza by the military, Evans Ufeli, who will be discussing the harmful practice of child marriage, and Cyril Abaku, who will be shedding some tears for Nigeria's petroleum sector. I'll be examining the rampant paternity fraud in Nigeria, but that will be when we return from this break. You're welcome once again. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Middleman.
And you're welcome back to the Middleman. Now my case. Paternity fraud in Nigeria. Nigeria has a paternity fraud rate of 30%. That is 3 out of 10 Nigerian women commit paternity fraud, the second highest in the world. Paternity fraud, also known as misattributed paternity or paternal discrepancy, refers to the situation where a man is falsely identified as the biological father of a child due to deliberate misrepresentation by the mother or other parties involved. Fear women every day.
Wow.
Durex, the famous condom maker, did a survey that turned the spotlight on infidelity. They talked to a whopping 29,000 people from 36 different countries, and what they found was pretty surprising. Hold on to your seats. Nigerian women took the crown with a staggering 62% admitting to being unfaithful. That is 6 out of 10 Nigerian women admitting to being unfaithful. Fear Nigerian women twice. Why are Nigerian women this unfaithful in a country as patriarchal as Nigeria is? Are we paying the men in their own coins for being polygamous? Experts say it's due to increased sexual recklessness amongst couples. It's just that men cannot get pregnant. My goodness. We accuse government officials of corruption, but we're giving men other men's children. The worst thing you could do to a man. One Nigerian woman caught in paternity fraud said she told her husband she was pregnant. He didn't ask who she was pregnant for. Imagine, was he supposed to ask? Fear Nigerian women 3 times on Sunday. We're most religious, yet the second most unfaithful in the world. I hear paternity fraud dates back many centuries. It's only DNA test exposing the scourge now. In fact, some men know they are not the biological fathers of their children. They just choose to turn a blind eye. It's okay if it's the man's choice. It's absolutely criminal to foist it on him. According to a forensic geneticist, Dr. Abiodun Salami, 50% of firstborns in Nigeria are not biological children of their fathers. Salami, who is also the chief medical director, DNA Center Lagos, revealed that 50% of all the paternity tests carried out in his laboratory came out negative, and mostly affected were firstborn children. He said, several surveys have shown that approximately 3 men in 10 are living under the deception that they're the fathers of another man's children. Half of the paternity disputes and tests we carried out in 2 years showed that the fathers were not biologically related to their children, especially when the dispute arose on paternity of firstborn children. Don't these statistics scare you? My verdict: do that DNA test today. In fact, DNA test should be compulsory at birth. Don't let a man unknowingly father a child that is not his. It should be their choice, not by fraud.
Wow.
See the way the men
Wow.
took a long breath.
This is a most chilling, because I think the first country is Jamaica.
Yeah.
And Jamaica has a notoriety for births outside.
And the difference between Jamaica and Nigeria is just a small percentage.
Yes, but Jamaica
they are 34%, we are 30%.
They will naturally hold that crown. Because there are some things we can't say about Jamaica here on air.
Okay.
Yes, but in Jamaica, the baby mama industry is, the way the Italians have to now add some things into the GDP computation. Yes, Jamaica is as if they're second.
Prostitution and gambling.
Yes. So what those have to Italy are what having children outside of wedlock is to, you hardly find a Jamaican young lady who is not already a mother of an unfathered child. Child. So, but that Nigerians are not
as reckless.
Yes, we place a premium on marriage.
So we hide our own. Jamaica own is in the open.
Is in the open. You can call them sinners. You can call it fornication. All this one we are calling misattribution, paternity fraud. What is the name for it?
Paternity discrepancy.
It's not discrepancy. This is adultery. People are going to sleep. I don't know.
You see, the one for the firstborn children, sometimes it is that the lady didn't end the old relationship properly and marries almost immediately, right? There are also some people who claim that DNA tests where the father isn't the father of the child, you ought to also do a maternity test just in case the child was switched at birth.
Okay. So to that extent, right, Nigeria, I think, has a peculiar case that must be addressed. And I think that to address a matter like this, we need to now go beyond just what government can do. I agree with you that we should have DNA tests. But the question of marital fidelity, sexual purity, whatever, all of that are things that we appeal to the mind for. You can't make laws to prevent those. You know what I mean?
I agree. Morality. You can't. So yes, you can't police morality.
Yes, so we need to go back to the moral foundations. Before I wrap my own thoughts on this, we cannot single out paternity fraud as a singularly immoral act in our society. There's another problem. You see, when the Bible says that when there's no vision, the people cast off restraint, that they just do anything they like. When the society has embraced one form of wrong for a long time, it has a way of cascading into other kinds of, everybody just gives way, anything now, can happen. So we need to go back to a holistic approach to morality. I think that when cultism became a very big issue on campuses, people said that they should introduce civics and things that can teach people how to abstain from those behaviors. I think that there is a need for us to go back to moral education because that is the place we must plug it from. Our foundation in education must be one that is tailored towards meeting our social needs. Because one man died one time and we had to do his funeral. It was later we heard that all his 9 or 11 children were consistently said by another man.
Jesus.
And I think it was when one of them was about to get married. They told the girl, you can't do this. You can't do this. This must not be told. This man here, if you do this, it will be incest. The matter filtered into the man's ear. I'm telling you. There is a former governor in this country. Somebody met his daughter and said, I know you, and called, and he said, are you one of my father's children? Yes. Because whenever that man's children want to marry, all of them will go back to the village and ask, did you have anything to do with? Were you involved in anybody? So because of the man's, will I call it?
Recklessness.
No. Maybe legacy, something like that. They now have to begin to say, so if you want to, the guy said, I one of my father's children. Shows that the man has children, because when he was governor, he had children in all the local government areas of the state. You know what I mean? So to that extent, those problems will abound. I just hope that we trace our roots back to where we should be actually, right? Where we teach morality. And where, like you said, if there are issues of people coming out of a relationship and want to go into another one, there should be proper closure and healing. Don't go into one thing and start missing what you say you've come out of and things like that. This is a very terrible situation that
I absolutely agree.
It's unfortunate the way we found it. But you see, in Africa, there's a smart way by which men value these things. Well, they say, well, any child born under my roof is my child. So, if it turns out that their wives, engaged in any away match, well, they just look away from it and take care of a child. Well, the burden will be on the conscience of the woman, not on the man. You see, what am I trying to say? You cannot legislate morality because human beings, being what they are, will always show up what is inside them. So no matter how we pretend, make laws, don't do this, don't drink. I tell you, that is when people will drink the most. Don't do this. That is when people will do. You just take a typical example of a sign by the road.
Do not urinate here.
That is where people.
It's most attractive for urinating.
Some people will say if you urinate. Some people will not add if you urinate here. Causes will follow your generation, and then people will not urinate there and say, okay, fine. It will follow the generation. So you now find out that what we need to do, really, yes, DNA testing is becoming more, popular in Nigeria.
For people who want to jackpot,
but generally, I don't know how many people over here, apart from celebrities, who just want to, trend for whatever reason. I don't know how many men who would want to spend hundreds of thousands, on a DNA
or
test.
Millions.
Depending
on where you do it.
Because, well, for me, for two people to come together and say they want to get married, and then, certain strange things start happening, then there wasn't any success. Yes.
Please, if you found out that one or two of your children are not yours, will you be dismantled?
Who will find it out?
You don't go do DNA test.
What do I need it for? Let me tell you, long before I got married, I developed a concept that, you see, any children, any child that grows under my wings,
is
I
your
will
child?
take as my child. Yes. And I tell you what, listen to me. I'll tell you what, today, at least I have 3
that are not
that I call my children. 2 are mothers now. They have children. 1, I was telling Josie the other day, is going to get married in July. And I said I'm making arrangements for him because he's like my son. What he is today, I'm very proud of him. So all put together are my children. So I'm not so particular about biological or non-biological.
Because the issue is beyond accepting people to just be your children. This is about the circumstances.
But I mentioned that if a man chooses that you are my child, it's different from foisting. When you think that the child is your own.
Or when you find out the disappointment that comes with that.
It breaks your heart.
What I would say is, please, if she's married, just let
Why would the man, why, I for one, what you don't know will hurt you. So I wouldn't go looking for.
what is that missing?
When we return, Rebecca will be looking for what to not hurt him by discussing unlawful attack on Banex Plaza by soldiers. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Middleman. On that interesting note, you're still watching The Middleman on Enterprise TV. My case, Vacate Banex Plaza now. Yet again, the Nigerian military has shown its brawn in the wrong quarters through the recent illegal invasion of Banex Plaza in Abuja. The illegal invasion arose from an altercation between a phone vendor and a soldier. The soldier had reportedly bought a phone from the vendor, but it was later found to be defective. When the soldier tried to obtain a replacement or refund, a fracas arose, causing a breakdown of law and order in the busy area. Typically, instead of directing its affected personnel to file a report with the police, the military invaded and shut the plaza. They also manhandled civilians who were going about their own business. Curiously, the Nigerian army justified the awful act, even while calling for an investigation. Very strange. My verdict: this latest act of indiscretion by the military stands highly condemned. They cannot be a judge in their own case, as has been demonstrated in repeated acts of brigandage by soldiers. Why would off-duty soldiers be found in uniform in civilian spaces? Why should soldiers continue to undermine the police, whereas they know clearly that no law empowers the military to effect arrests? The police remain in charge of internal security and must not be subjugated to the whims anchor prices of power-drunk members of society. As a matter of fact, the military must do all it can to subject its members to democratic authority. The military must vacate Banex Plaza immediately, while the affected owners of the businesses whose shops were shut as a result of the illegal closure are advised to sue for damages. The ugly incident that claimed the lives of some military personnel at Okwama in Delta State is still hanging in the air, but it appears the leadership of the military have yet to work out an effective means of peacefully resolving conflicts with the civilian populace. Herein lies the challenge for the military high command, ISORU.
So their training is to kill. I absolutely agree with your verdict that why should a military man be found in civilian spaces in their military uniform? They do it to avoid transportation fare.
When it's off duty.
To run and stuff.
I saw the video, right, on Saturday as it happened. And immediately people started saying, all the shop owners better run away, all the civilians, all the customers just run, because when military come back, like we saw happen in Odi and Okwama, the military now only go there here and then no here come, right? Again, they're trained to kill. Unfortunately, Nigeria does seem like a jungle where you're not sure.
That's the word.
Where you're not sure whose authority lies within which jurisdiction. Everybody is just,
He's a lot unto himself.
Going like there's no law at all. Like you rightly put it, we are all laws unto ourselves. You know who I am. Is a Nigerian phrase where all of us harass the next person.
You remember when, are you done?
Go ahead.
You remember when I've been talking about this case for some time now, when they went to arrest Bello in Abuja. EFC operatives got to Bello's house at 9:30 in the morning. Some security people guarding Bello said they couldn't effect his arrest, which was wrong in the first place because the power of the states supersedes any other authority.
True.
If you're a mountain guard and people come to say they want to arrest, you guys will compare notes, call your superiors and effect. So because another is another. Then that didn't happen. They were there until 2:30 in the afternoon. 5 hours had passed. What that should tell you is there's nobody in charge of security in this country. I'm sorry.
But that is the truth. But that's the reality.
You can't have a standoff between two security apparatus in the same. It's not. It doesn't.
Policemen, no, they are police. They are all of them are policemen. EFCC police, the Nigerian police.
It doesn't happen like that.
Can I give you an example of something similar that happened to me? My estate. We're trying to tell one of our residents, sir, you cannot turn your personal house into a church, disturbing your neighbors. So we called the police. He drove out, came back with policemen. By the time the two batches of policemen saw themselves, they were from the same police station.
Wow. Who booked them?
Who ordered the
deployment
that we called?
The deployment.
Who ordered the one that followed the residents? From the same, we now carried ourselves all back to the police station to settle the matter. Agreeing with you,
no, there's nobody, and you see, the military has been consistent in their behavior, misbehavior. This same pattern of if you
attack on military man, they come back.
There's no question of what happened and why. It's a matter of you touch soldier, everybody comes around to you. And you see, so the fact is that now they've shot Banex Plaza. And it may remain like that for God knows how long, because they themselves are power to themselves. So this Banex thing can remain like that. You'll be amazed that when they shut that place down, now who should order for the place to be reopened? Who is the market? The market leaders, who are they going to appeal to? Who are they going to talk to? Ideally, if such a fracas took place, the police ought to come in, quell the situation, okay, and then
arrest suspects,
arrest whoever to, even if it was soldiers, arrest, okay.
A soldier should not be there.
But is it the same Nigerian police that a traditional ruler handed himself over front, and the police took him to the military? It shows you how saga. It shows you I was reading a case, recently, where a judge actually helped people, who were clearly in the wrong, helped them to even, use judicial imprimatur to even stamp authority on that illegal thing.
Yeah.
It was when he was challenged, I think it was the appeal court that actually redressed the situation. Now, what kind of a judge is that you're not supposed to do this? One, there wasn't even the way the authorities went about that issue was very wrong, but you still gave them cover. So we need to know that, right? Nigeria is still highly militarized.
We know.
Our politicians are just interested in occupying power. They have no interest in protecting citizens' liberties. Unfortunately, yesterday, a journalist,
of any country,
Madu Onora, was abducted right in front of his wife and children by policemen in 2 Sienna vehicles. That's what I'm saying. Is it that our security agents have become so idle, so jobless, that security agents will be so, anytime there's a need to abduct somebody or to just carry out an unlawful act, you see so many of them. What happened to the practice that, whereby people are invited to the police station? Why would 2 Sienna buses full of policemen go to arrest?
That is like to arrest, more like abduction than arrest. But it's true now.
But that means they are jobless, and they have to release Madu Onora immediately, because look. I wonder what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has to celebrate for 1 year. It has been 1 year of lawlessness, rudderlessness, and the country is going adrift. Now he says his ministers will brief Nigeria. I'm waiting for the briefing of the Minister of Information. He has to resign. He owns a newspaper, Blueprint newspaper. How will he feel if security agents keep arresting journalists from his table? The military, police, they've, in the past 1 year, they've made the lives of journalists unbearable. And that minister continues to say, I don't know. Then he should resign. He should get out of the place. So, Banex Plaza must be reopened immediately. Madu Onora must be released immediately. Enough of all this.
Now, you see the problem. When they took Segun Olatunji and the other guy, the minister was not aware. Now, Banex Plaza has been shut down.
Is he aware?
Even no. That one is not.
Wike is busy fighting Fubara, so it doesn't even know.
May not be his purview. But see where we are. It is a case of, even when Wike maybe gets to news, say, oh boy, can we? What can we do? Can we call the president?
No, somebody who is fighting Fubara. Will he be?
I'm just trying to tell you where we are in Nigeria. The collapse of any country is when its institutions have collapsed.
True.
Everything else is just played together.
Yes.
But so now the point is, they've arrested someone. Maybe it may even be the vice president. They'll be asking, what can we do about it? Who should we call? Who put him there? Is he the king of his village? Who put him there? Okay, is he close to the president? Or yeah, what do we do? We are talking about a country in which people don't work based on the title that they are given. They work based on who put them in the places they occupy. That was why an AIG son, when an AIG son was arrested by policemen, a retired AIG, it was Sega Links he called before enters took place. Retired DIG or AIG of police, his son, policeman
called Sega Links.
He said, come on.
Sega is no longer powerful like that.
He said, save my son.
Who Nigerians
call now? Okay, well, on that note, when we come back, Juro Cyril Abako will be shedding tears. I hope not real tears. For the petroleum sector, as Total Energies chooses Angola over Nigeria for a $6 billion energy project. Don't go away, please.
Middleman.
You're welcome back. This is still the Middleman on Enterprise TV. My case, Nigeria's oily tears. Nigeria loves to open topics without closing them. You love to debate. There is always a new legislature in Nigeria about a new petroleum law. When you have such permanent debates, it's difficult for investors looking for long-term structure to know what direction to go. End quote. Those are not my words. They are those of a man who knows enough to decide where his money will be safest. His name is Monsieur Patrick Pouyanné, Chief Executive Officer of Total Energies. And shame that Nigeria isn't where he thinks it best to put his money. But what money are we talking about, and how much is it? A whopping $6 billion of investment in oil and gas. It should have been Nigeria's by birthright, by stature, by status. But no. Those who talk a nation's greatness must be those who know it well enough. I like to put myself in that class, but the sad part is that there was a Nigeria and there is a Nigeria. There was one Nigeria when the French investor wouldn't even have thought twice before walking straight to the doorpost of the giant on the continent. But not when that giant begins to wear clay feet. All that the argument is that Angola has a more feasible policy environment, but not Nigeria. We say too much and do so little. How are the mighty falling? But can we fall and then rise again? My verdict. The venerable Niger Delta poet, Ibiwari Ikiriko, rest his soul, famously wrote the poem Oily Tears of the Niger Delta, from which I took my title for today's intervention. I hope it's graphic enough. There's no blessing in mismanaging a country's wealth. Let us wipe these tears because we were not born with them. We must urgently trash the jambalaya of policy stutters and do what those who are drawing investors do. I so rule.
Very, very interesting. The other day, I was watching a program on Arise TV, Bosin Omofaye, Dr. Ruben Abati, Hussein Rufai, and one other lady, I don't remember her name, it's the Oji Okweso. Where we are talking about why investors have continued, been shunning Nigeria since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into power, and then Bosin Omofaye was saying that there's a lot of wind from Nigeria, but they don't see consistency. That we don't know how to put the right thing, put the square pegs in square holes. And so we leave a lot of things open. Now we usually think that, because we met the president of Aramco, and then we go to the media, say, President, instead of saying, President Tinubu asked for Aramco to invest, to the tune of $10 billion. We'll come out and say we're expecting investment from Aramco. And we forget that after the Nigerian delegation has left, that those guys will sit back and hold another meeting to say, what do you think of this, of this delegation? What do you think of their presentation? The Total Energies man got it right. No cohesion. Nothing. You hear one thing today, you hear another one tomorrow. Endless debates about a simple thing, just updating the country's petroleum industry. Now, the other day, an activist, took Shell, to the cleaners, talking about the fact that Shell wants to exit the Niger Delta after leaving it in a mess. But the point is this: is Shell solely culpable?
No.
What about the Nigerian government?
Sure.
Nigerian government has been getting royalties.
Yes.
What has it been doing with the royalties? So when you look at all of these things, look at the Ogoni cleanup.
It's actually
nowhere.
venture.
Look at so many things, and thank you very much. All these oil companies have been operating as joint ventures.
Sorry,
what have we done with our own share of the joint venture?
Sorry, sir. Even the joint venture wasn't what it was meant to be originally.
Yes.
Even the joint venture was a caricature or what's the word? A contortion of what it should have been. Yes, of the original thing.
Idea.
Where are they doing JVCs in the world? Where they say, let us do it together. Do our own for us. So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Do our own for us and give us the
Our
profit.
own is just to collect money.
It's to be collecting money. Why want to be? That itself is corruption.
True.
If you lack the stamina and now look at what the man is. Before that, they said PIB. They mutilated the whole
and they gave us PIB 1.
Do you know what the man
told us they will give us PIB 2
later?
You know
it was PIGB. All kinds of
Do you know what the man ended up doing? Is that, you know, when Tinubu went to Qatar, you know, they made a song and dance of the fact that it was his son, Sheyi, you know, that he was friends with the emir of Qatar, that it was Sheyi Tinubu that arranged the trip, blah, 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 blah. And that, we're expecting huge investments from Qatar in the Niger Delta, in the oil industry. And then somebody just whispered some weeks after, that look, that Qatari businessmen, you know, had said that, how would anybody expect them to be going into the Niger Delta that the oil majors like Shell and others are exiting?
Are divesting from.
That it doesn't make any sense.
And even your local investors, Seplat and Co are declaring losses.
Declaring losses.
When your estimated stock, whatever, is 37.1 billion barrels, and yet it's loss to loss. When they claim to catch oil thieves, what do they do with them? The first thing that the government does is to destroy the evidence.
Okay, Professor Lai.
So how really can people come and put money in an ungoverned sector?
Professor Larry Awoshika went to inform President Tinubu that we went to the UN and fought for more nautical miles for Nigeria's shoreline. Yeah. So we now have more.
Yes, a size that is 5 times the size of Lagos. Yes, more nautical space. Yes.
So they call it. So your the seabed by your shoreline. Mm-hmm. There's a particular name that they give it. You know that each country has sovereignty over. Mm-hmm. So now we're getting more international waters that is now becoming Nigeria's
littoral space. Yes.
Space, but the land space, the offshore that we had before, we couldn't even manage, right? Since the discovery of oil in Oloibiri in 1956, we have run tears, oily tears, like you put it, right? And unfortunately for us, the government in power seems to be discussing more about how to take care of their own health, share the national cake amongst themselves, fighting godson that they left in states they formerly governed, rather than granting or providing good governance for the Nigerian masses.
The day we will take a day to say all jurors should discuss Nigeria only. I hope we can bear it.
Because we will cry oily tears.
The matter runs very deep. You have people that first of all tell you, Oga, just give us our own share first. They are not even interested in invest. Just this, but what is it? What's our own?
Why did Tinubu on that Qatar trip? Why did Tinubu have to say openly, and shamefully, that if any of my vision asks for bribe, report to me personally? Have you ever had any president?
Where does that happen?
So the point is that the oil industry as presently constituted is in a shambles. There is nothing for people to come and invest in because the oil theft is rampant. There isn't, that's why you see Dangote conveniently just went to the United States
to get crude.
That's at least to be getting 2 million. But you know what people are saying? Some analysts are saying that Dangote being a businessman, that is even cheaper for him. That US crude is cheaper than Money Light. Yeah, that is cheaper.
That's so it's crude.
Yes, Brent crude, that is cheaper. So it's even better for him. But tell me, what quality of petroleum products
will he get
are we going to be getting? And then how are we going to say, okay, that we're advancing our petroleum industry?
That's what I said, is a slap on us.
We're all waiting for him.
There are certain things. I was told how investors choose where to put money. When they gather together in a room, like they bring the map of the world and say, okay, where and where can we? Then they do geo mapping, strategic geo mapping. When they take each continent or each region, each country, they do a SWOT analysis of a country. Do you know that there are leaders of the world, and I'm sorry to say this, that will be ashamed to stand to even take photo up with some presidents?
Yes.
Presidents who cannot manage their basic cabinet meetings, presidents who lie, governments that lie. that they have had a deal with an international company that says
Like Musk.
such a deal didn't
And
happen.
Musk is saying that, sorry, when did we discuss?
And we forget that whether
so taking picture with your president is even high.
We forget that whether it is true or not. Our president came to power on the back of certain very serious allegations that we are
hanging on his neck.
And then you add all this together. Let's watch who else will invite him after the Dutch Prime Minister. Let's see who else will invite him among the G7 or even top.
Sir, does he care?
Does he care? But in the end,
when you invite him, he makes a detour to France to see his doctors all the time.
Anyway, this matter just continue to linger and linger and linger. We hope that someday Nigeria will get a Messiah who comes to settle this issue.
Hope 2023.
Once and for all. It was Hope 93. It became Renewed Hope 2023. We hope that
it will not be hope, future hope, futuristic hope in 2033.
Jumake, they said that hope is bad for supper. We hope that we don't carry hope into our twilight years. When we come back, Junior Evans Ofeli will be discussing the criminal practice of child marriage. Please don't go anywhere.
Middleman. My case, the shabbiness of a lawmaker gradually and tragically comes to the fore. Child marriage in Nigeria. It has become a serious menace in our society that people take children into marriage. Recently, a lawmaker from Niger State in Nigeria decided to organize marriage for 100 young girls who were reported to be orphans, whose parents have been killed as a result of the long-standing violence where bandits have taken over the stratosphere in Niger State, Nigeria, and have killed so many persons uncountable, and the record runs uncontrollably. Now, the offsprings of these deceased persons who, were supposed to be catered for by the government, the state government and the federal government of Nigeria, a lawmaker from that state now had put forth an agreement or an arrangement to enable them get married to some suitors. When we have a law in Nigeria that prohibits child marriage, the Child Right Act is in section 22 and 23 prohibits child marriage. And child marriage under the Nigerian law is a marriage to any girl that is below the age of 18. It is forbidden and there's penalty for it. But the irony and the paradox of this case is that we now have a lawmaker who is supposed to know, or who is presumed to know the law and should ensure that he does not breach it. And the said lawmaker took an oath of office to defend the laws of Nigeria. Now, we are faced with a conundrum of irresponsibility. And I find it rather intolerably repulsive that we put up with this kind of activity in 2024 in Nigeria. You see, the lawmaker has committed an offense because the law said that whoever organizes or whoever put together any arrangement or activity for the purposes of giving out a girl child for marriage before the age of 18 is guilty of an offense. Now, he has violated the Child Right Act, which is punishable under the law. He has also breached the oath of his office, the criminal breach of trust, okay? And he has offended society by that obnoxious agreement. And he has also committed what they call attempted rape because he was involved, he's an accomplice
to that act of putting together these young girls for marriage. The Child Right Act clearly states that the responsibility of a parent, a guardian, or whoever is in charge of any child is to ensure that the child have education, the child is fed, the child is protected, and the child is given all that he requires or she requires to develop to adulthood, at least to that point of 18. And that is the responsibility of every adult, be lawmaker, be parent, be guardian, whosoever. It's expected by law to ensure that the girl child, a child is protected as stated by law. So anyone who contravenes that has committed an offense under the law. And I call on this society, the government, and all relevant authorities to ensure that this case is not swept under the carpet. It is an act of criminality, one that must not be swept under the carpet. Now, my verdict. We must, as a matter of necessity, ensure that our laws on child rights, acts, and rights of the child is enforced. We must ensure that a culture and tradition that militate against this act, that militate against the girl child from growing to adulthood, having the proper education, and not be given to marriage, must be quashed. Such customs have not passed the validity tests under the law. Such traditions are repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. And because they have failed to pass the repugnancy test, and because they have failed to pass the validity test, such kind of activity must not be found amongst us as a civilized society or a civil society. So this is a call to all and sundry to ensure that this case is not swept under the carpet. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Oh, wow. But child marriage has been a thing of, discuss for many years in Nigeria. I remember how I laughed at former Emir, now going to be Emir of Kano, when he was always talking about child bride, and then he became Emir, they dashed him an 18-year-old that he also married. And we're saying, how old is this young girl?
He has always argued that the age of that there was no need making a fuss of 18 years, that somewhere in Europe it was 16. Yes, I mean,
but when you talk about child marriage, you're talking about 13-year-olds.
Well, I don't know. I saw him on TV saying that. Some people want to live
But
in the era. Yes.
We earlier mentioned that you cannot legalize or police morality.
Yes.
Is this morality or an illegality?
So let's bring the Niger State matter on the table, right? Let's lay it out like it was a surgical table, and let's begin to cut things open. The first point is nobody for a fact has been able to ascertain and tell us how old those girls are. And I, for one, have been concerned by the Ministry of Women Affairs. I like the intervention, but it is belated and it is reactionary. But nonetheless, it's a welcome development. Because one would have expected that, given the high rate of banditry, IDP camps and everything, do they have data of women and girls that have been displaced?
Data in Nigeria.
And are they making effort to reach out to them? Because now the Speaker of Niger State declared this publicly. Now, they're attacking him. What if this has been going on in other places that nobody even knew
about
anything? So, but it's fine. Niger's on the table, so let's talk Niger State. We don't know how old those girls are, right? If they are above the age of 18, it may just be that we consider it to be their right to do what they want to do. But if they are less than 18 years of age, then it is an illegality by law.
Yeah.
Because if before the law came, we are marrying at 13 and 14.
But now there's a law.
Now there's a law. And because man has civilized and because science has sort of, setting things, we cannot go back to what we've always done. We must advance. All right. So if they are less than 18, then something is wrong somewhere. And we must make sure we must assert the power of the state to right what is wrong before it even goes wrong. So what can we do? We must make sure that I'm even surprised because all the voices that came from Niger State appear to be supporting the speaker.
Did you not hear the lawmaker?
I didn't hear any
dissecting voice.
And yeah, you know, from sending voice from there. So that for me again is a worry. It means that this is a clash of worldviews. One is maybe a Southern Christian federal government view versus that of the conservative Northern, maybe even Muslim view. I recall the same thing happened when Bola was Minister of Justice and they passed a fatwa on a small girl. And Bola is a fatwa will
yes.
No, not the Disney reporter. There was another girl, a young girl, maybe a teenage girl, right? On whom a fatwa was passed. And Bola said that fatwa was not going to happen in this country. But I didn't follow up on the story. So it is a clash of worldviews, clearly. But now the minister is talking, has she reached out to the village, to the community? Have they started engaging with the traditional leaders and religious leaders? And have they even attempted to ferry those girls? Because 100 girls are the ones they want to do the thing for. But he said that the village gave him 210 girls. Yeah, that's what the speaker said. That they presented, and that all of them are fan suitors.
Wow.
They say the girls are happy to marry.
Why is it that the girls are suddenly voiceless? They are speaking for the girls.
But they said two of the girls spoke.
Spoke to who?
That I don't know.
And so you see, these are just.
Please, you Southern. This is Jumoke's interpretation.
Parody, yes.
Now you Southern Christians want to make noise on behalf of us. Just leave us the way we are. We are happy. Me, in fact, this man has been my boyfriend. It's just that they are just doing this marriage for us. You see,
I want to say something. You know, when the North tries to, appropriate this child marriage thing as if it's something exclusively happening in the North, I just say it's a lie. You know, they just use it. Some of these politicians in the North use it, for, purposes of mischief. Child marriage, is a big problem across the country.
Yeah.
It's not just in the North. Mm-hmm. It's not about, any religion. It's not about any ethnicity. It's something that's just that, enlightenment has started bringing out the fact that some of these things are wrong. For instance, my grandmother almost married at the age of 9.
Ewo.
Yes, she was betrothed at the age of 9. But my grandfather felt that, this is too, this girl is too young now. In the body of this girl is too young. And again, my grandmother was, of a smallish stature. And this girl is too young now. Okay, then I said, all right, that they will take her to somebody, to stay with the person and learn, and then by the time she was 16, they brought her back to get married. So you see.
So she married at 16?
Yes. So a lot of these things have been happening, over the centuries, But these days, you see, enlightenment has made us come out of the shadows to say, how do we deal with this issue? This is, this should not be part of modern society. So how can we move forward? What can we do about it? And of course, you find out that parents are even, some parents of these children are even culpable in
encouraging
this. You see parents encouraging
it. But they do not know any better, right? So again, this is a clash of modernity and culture. Where you have always practiced something and you do not see anything wrong with it. And then suddenly there's a law that makes it illegal. You think that the law is against you and your practice.
That's why.
And then you try to appropriate it, mischievously appropriate it as if it is something to be proud of.
The parents I was talking about
they don't know better.
The need for awareness campaigns, right? I think, and again, where this is coming from is fundamentally the fact that we've been doing this over the years and people didn't die. But the fact that you've been doing it didn't mean that it was right to be done. And people did die actually. Science has come to know. Yes, of course. VBS is rampant, very rampant in the north. In the
although then we say that what's this thing that women have down south for having fibroid is also very rampant.
No, it is not. So the point is this: the likes of Socrates and Aristotle didn't attend university. We are attending them now. she now said that we should go back and learn the way they learned in their own time. It won't work.
I agree.
So it's something that I work in the days of ignorance. But now that we are enlightened and we are educated,
now we know better.
I also agree with Juro Emeka. There was a governor in this country who said that he had married a 13-year-old Egyptian girl.
Oh, I remember.
You know, we can't forget these things.
I remember.
So this is.
But I went on an assignment to a northern state, and in that northern state they kept making mockery of of
This
him.
guy.
Yeah, there was a name they were calling him. I don't want to say it on air, but they kept making mockery of him. So that shows that even among those we think
it's not a monolithic thing.
Vicariously culpable, there are still some that say no, we don't want to be a part of this.
Yes.
So the other thing is that let us take basic education more seriously. Let us take it more seriously. Let children, this issue of out of school children, it must be dealt with. Even in the southeast, you see now there is this advocacy that they should not allow little boys to go into apprenticeship. That you should allow them, go to school up till they are 18.
Then they
can go into apprenticeship or anything. But basic education, free primary and secondary education, must be entrenched in the country. States must pay up their counterpart funding of the Universal Basic Education Commission, to the Universal Basic Education Commission. These are the things that make that you see children on the streets hawking and all of that. There are a lot of let me just quickly chip this in, please. Permit me. On Sunday, when we came back from church, my family came back from church, there was a little girl. There's a young girl, maybe 12, 13, 14, or 15. She's smallish. She hawks this echo, and she brought it. Tray full. Then we were just thinking maybe our house was the first place she came to, and we said we didn't need it. So. Because I was the one that said they should start buying it, just to kind of encourage her, because, So, and you know what the little girl did? She just, when we said we're not buying, she said, okay, she just kept the tray by the side and lay down somewhere in my compound, and lay down. So I was asking her, I hope there's no problem. She said, no, sir. No, Daddy, I want to just rest. My wife, okay. Then after some time, she left. And my wife and I said, wow, this is wickedness.
It is.
That the parents, my wife was saying, the parents of this girl are really wicked. That, look at today's Sunday, that children should be playing at home or doing their homework or washing their school uniform, and you send the child out, and it shows that the girl is tired. Who knows what they made her do since morning.
So if the parents are poor and they see their children as their tools for making money,
yes, financial empowerment. So I'm not even saying that Sunday maybe we would have even paid for all the echo on the tray. But why we didn't even need it?
You not throw it away.
You see, so unfortunately,
yes,
there are parents that also need to be trained.
Enlightenment.
And we must state something very clear here. The Niger girls need to be empowered, need to be educated, whether they are 18 years above or less.
Will they not fight us?
It's the primary thing they need.
Will they not fight us?
You see, agencies or government that are usually relegated and considered to be useless have their roles. For example, agencies in charge of adult and community education. These people must be up and active all the time. We must have community radio stations where we teach civics and values. Or when you're not investing in this space, you're not investing in creating the Nigerian mind, and you hope that everybody behave the same way, it's not going to work. Okay? So we must invest in the Nigerian mind, old people, young people, men, women, boys, girls, until awareness is created. I fear that we may not be able to get universal compliance on some of the values that civilized men have always embraced and lived by. Oh well, it's how far we're able to go on the show at this time. That's all on Middleman today. I appreciate you. We all jurors appreciate you for being on the show with us today. That's for the viewer, of course. We can't thank you enough. You may join us next time by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV 7. You may also visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. We'll see you again next time, but until then, it's bye.
Middleman. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.